Louise would like for us to examine the applicability. Pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, I'm assuming that's you, Erica. Could you please do the roll call?
Sure. Scott Dorman,
Here.
John Smith,
Here.
Jeff Robbins,
Here.
Sandy Smith,
Here.
Ryan Leahy.
Here.
Before we begin, well, I'd like to start by approving the agenda. We have the agenda up here. But before we do that, I think I'd like to make one change, and that is to have us nominate and elect officers of the board so that we have an actual leader of this meeting, in the form of the president, whoever that turns out to be. Can I get a motion that we can amend the agenda to start now with the nomination and election of board officers?
I would make a motion to change the agenda to move 12A, officer nominations, to before we approve the agenda. I'd like to second that.
So before we approve the agenda, then we have to modify the agenda too. Yeah, all right. All right, so
So this will be-
carried, motion is carried. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion's carried. So I'll open up, discussion for the nominating of officers.
I would like to nominate Sandra Smith as president. Second.
Any discussion? Or we try to open up to a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. I appreciate the confidence, and the vote of confidence, and I will do my best to do a great job for all of you. Thank you. Can we have a motion? Let's talk about now the position of vice president. Does anyone have a nomination for vice president of the board? I do. I think I would like to nominate Scott Dorman. Does anybody have a second? Any discussion? All in favor of Scott Dorman becoming the vice president of the board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. I would like to nominate Ryan to be the treasurer. And Ryan Leahy, I'm sorry. I'd like to nominate Ryan Leahy to be the treasurer. So I'm gonna make it that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Ryan Leahy serving as the treasurer of the board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. We now have, I think I do want to formally vote for the position of secretary. To date, we've had Erica Getz serving as secretary of the board. I'd like to nominate Erica to continue in that fashion. Also, though, I would like to make it clear that needs to report into me. So we need to be working very closely together. I need to understand everything that happens before it goes out. And make sure that we're doing the books correctly. So with that caveat, I'd like to nominate Erica to the position of secretary. As you know, the bylaws and policies are such that we can have somebody who is not serving on the board act as secretary of the board. And so I will make that motion now to nominate Erica. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor of having Erica Getz served as secretary of the board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. Have I missed anything? I think that's it.
That's it.
Okay. So let's turn to the approval of the agenda. It's on the board behind us. Obviously, there was a motion to modify the agenda, and we just executed on that agenda item. So with that change, Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as it stands with that change?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as it was presented with the change in the officer nominations.
Can I have a second to that motion, please?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, so let's talk next about the next agenda item, which is conflict of interest disclosures. As I understand it, what we're doing here is we are attempting to ascertain whether any of us have any pecuniary interest or other mechanism by which we would stand to gain or have any potential conflict of interest, whether it's financial or otherwise. And we must disclose that. Let's disclose it now as we're serving on the board. I also understand we do not presently, while we do have a formal policy relative to conflicts of interest, we do not presently have a form that each of us should sign, which is something that we actually should have. So I will prepare such a form for Erica to distribute in advance of the next meeting, and we'll sign that. But as we stand now, does anybody here on the board have a conflict of interest that they would like to disclose? Potential conflict of interest that they would like to disclose?
I have no conflict of interest for what we're going to discuss tonight on this agenda. I know that the Recreation District, which I was on the board member for a long time, they have a conflict of interest form already that we signed every year. So you could probably just
Borrow
them,
it.
and they would send it to you instead of
I have
recreating.
several on my computer from different boards I've served on, so I'm sure we'll, but if we have one that relates to another entity and that's this part, that's probably the best one to use, so good idea. All right, so I will commit to getting a conflict of interest policy put together that we will all sign at the next board meeting. Is that acceptable to everybody? All right, I'd like now to open it up to our meeting up to public comments. And request that each of you understand that the rule is that we would like to limit those comments to 5 minutes each. Unless the board feels that it might be important for you to continue, and we will allow you to do so should we decide that is the case. Do I have anybody in the audience who would like to comment? Please. We love hearing from you guys, so anyone have anything? All right. Next meeting. All right, so I'm going to turn now to the approval of the minutes from the April 23rd, 2025 board meeting. Have you all had an opportunity, board members, to review those minutes? Yes. Can I have a motion to, do we have any modifications, suggestions, edits? I know none of us were at that meeting, so it might, I have read through them. I don't see anything objectionable. Does anybody have anything they'd like to comment on?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 23rd, 2025 board meeting as they were presented.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. So, GK, where are you? Can we please have you?
Yes. Well, I'm proud to give, no presentations today.
There
so,
are
proud to give the chief's report. The way this is going to be structured this evening is I'm going to give just the administrative division, and I'm going to have our division chiefs give their respective bureaus, so you can put a face to the name, and they can talk about their operations, training, prevention, and so on. The draft of the 2024 audit has been received from our auditor, and it'll be presented to you all in the June board meeting. Sorry, we'll go over those financials. We did a pension actuarial, and that has been completed as well. I don't know, so last minutes, but we changed the volunteer pension to over to our PPA, which was just a wise move for volunteers. So that happened. The Nexus study it's been about 7 years since we've had a Nexus study. So we started a Nexus study with Pinnacle, and that is to not so much set rates, but give us a range of rates for new builds, residential and commercial, that could be per square footage. That is complete, but not so much, I would say, still in draft form. They sent it to us. We had some corrections that we had to make. So we're waiting on that any day now from Pinnacle to get that Nexus. And we're in the process of changing accounting firms. So came on the position, saw just some improvements of service that we could have from our accounting firm. So we reached out to a special district accounting firm that does mainly fire special districts, and it's called JVG, James Vincent Group. And they do 35 districts, mainly in Colorado, some in Arizona. And we researched quite a few and settled on James Vincent Group. So we notified them that we want to make the change. We've also notified our existing accounting firm, and they are in communications through us and together on getting all the bill.coms and all the payroll and everything back and forth. So
Can I ask a question?
absolutely.
Did you send out an RFP for accounting firms to get at least 3 other accounting firms to?
I did not send out an RFP. I did individually interview firms.
And is our existing accounting firm committed to easing the transition and providing all the information necessary and working with our new firm to?
Right, very much so. And so far, they've been compliant with that.
Okay.
As of today, right? Even we got some more stuff.
Thank you.
That is the completion of the administrative.
Prevention?
Yeah, prevention.
All right, we'll try to get through this. Wildland fire risk reduction educator Logan Wesley is up to 72 home assessments and 8 neighborhood assessments for the year. That's compared to 66 and 5 respectively from all of last year. So he's on track to get an awful lot more done this year. Neighborhood ambassadors are starting their plans for mitigation projects they'll have going this summer. A lot of good work being done already. The ambassadors were celebrated on Community Wildfire Preparedness Day for completing that program, that neighborhood ambassador program that Logan helped him through. Lieutenant Shepard attended ICS 300 class last week in Johnstown. She is coordinating logistics for 2 upcoming grant projects, part of our co-swap grant along Curry Drive and at Fish Hatchery, both on town-owned lands. Wildfire risk reduction mitigation crew positions are both hired. They're starting June 23rd. The new staff members will be Alicia Paddock and Xavier Matthews, and that's 1A funded positions. Lieutenant Shepard also presented with Will End from the Essex Valley Watershed Coalition to the residents of Little Valley last Monday. They're talking about a proposed mitigation project in that neighborhood, so they're trying to get some neighborhood support going up there. She's also working on an event with EVIX, which is Essex Valley Investment in Childhood Success, and the police department in August for kids that we'll host here at the firehouse. Lieutenant Sutherland's working on continuing on her plan review experience. She's mentoring with Joe Jaramello, who's our official plan reviewer from Fire Marshal Services. She's preparing to take that test for plan review certification, hopefully within the next few months. So she's been providing comments, looking at the plans and working with Joe on that. Been attending a lot of the Regional Fire Marshal Association meetings. There's been a lot of new legislation that has affected some things with fire codes in the state. Wildfire resiliency code, food trucks, changes with inspections on those, and also ADUs. So she attends those meetings, trying to stay up to date on what's going on around the state. She's continuing her annual inspections, completed several special event inspections, a lot of food truck inspections. You'd be surprised how many food trucks we have up here. And as many upcoming events as summer season kicks off. She also had a presentation with the Board of Realtors and coordinated 2 special events, Safety Fair and the Career Fair, over this last month. And again, that's our part in those events. She's also preparing for farmers market, starts next week, I believe. Our auxiliary members are going to help us with that. And we've had a tent there last couple of seasons, answer questions, put people in contact with Logan so we can do more assessments, all that good stuff.
You keep a count of how many people stop that?
Yeah, we keep an estimate of each event we do of how many people we reach out to. Woody Biomass Strategy Committee is something I've been participating in. They're working on the final draft of that report. And that should be coming soon. I will get you guys the link for that if you're curious to read up on it. Wildfire Resiliency Code Board, this is a state board, part of Division of Fire Prevention and Control. Directing it, its board members are diverse throughout the state. But that, they have a WUI policy, a wildland urban interface policy, a statewide one, getting ready to be at final form. That's something we need to take to our community. There's an expectation that all municipalities and all special districts adopt it. So I'm going to be doing a presentation along with community development at the town of Estes Park. On June 24th, we're doing a study session for the town board to talk about that coming code. It will be required their goal is for it to be required to be adopted within, I want to say they changed the date. There was new legislation. I think it's March of next year. Don't quote me on that. Enforced by about a year from now, I think July of 2026 would be in place and enforced.
What's the name of that legislation?
I don't have the number in front of me, but I can get you a link to go look at the DFPC website that has all the information. But it's a Wildfire Resiliency Code Board that was mandated by the state government to develop a statewide wildland urban interface code.
And that's something we need to adopt.
Right.
And then also, it only pertains to new construction.
Correct. Yeah, it's not retroactive. Would pertain to new construction. Lieutenant Sutherland and I are also participating as part of the technical advisory committee for the town or for us as the town works on rewriting the development code. So we've had a seat at that table, taking a look at landscape requirements, make sure they're in line with what we're telling them on the hazard ignition zone assessments we do, so we're not conflicting. So we have a seat at that table to talk about the impacts of what we're doing and making sure the language in that code reflects what we want as a community. Presented to the town board last night, we asked a question about a grant. They provided matching funds, 25% of the Thunder Mountain project. That happened last year. They provided us $175,000, which was 25% of the project. February this year, when we got final word and signed the documents for the grant, they told us we didn't have to have a match. So I felt the need to go back to the town board, make sure they're still okay with us retaining the match. They voted on it last night. It was unanimous. We get to keep the match. They had already given us money, so we'll be moving forward on that project. That's it from prevention.
Thank you, Chief Langhammer. Now, Jason Dillingham.
Good afternoon, evening. So first, two separate operations and training falls under me, so obviously the operation, right, the calls for service, that's what we all, hear about and really drives what we do. So to date, 2025, today, we're at 253 calls. Last year, at this date, we were 244. So we're up 9 calls. With that comes our staffing. So currently 51 firefighters. Of those 51, 47 are volunteers. So of the difference there are the 4 full-time staff employees that are also firefighters. Good news, we recently onboarded another auxiliary member. So now we're up to 10 auxiliary members. So total 57 volunteers in your organization. Yeah, great numbers. So proud of that. With that, we have 5 new members completing their onboarding. They're currently in their task book, things they have to do as a probationary member to be a part of our organization. So we have 5 new members coming through that to be volunteer firefighters. With the operations, constantly reviewing or refining our standard operating guidelines. Again, great starting point for us as we move forward. Fire service is dynamic. We want to make sure we're providing the best service, the best practices, and constantly reviewing those and updating those. And lastly, we have a 24-hour on-call battalion chief schedule. Just last week, we revamped that, revised that with the new players, and we have that set for the rest of the summer. Any questions on operations? Okay, so training. Firefighter 2 Academy is wrapping up. Final testing will be Thursday and Saturday. 10 members that went through that, they will be certified firefighter 2. They'll provide that level of service through our organization, to our community. This month training, we focused on search and rescue. We did our mass casualty trailer. Went through that. We went through patient packaging and rope rescue. Tiffy, thank you for allowing us to use your property to conduct that training. It's very, appreciate that. Physical ability testing we'll be conducting over the next several weeks. This includes a swim test and includes our candidate physical ability test. Next month training, so June 3rd, our next Tuesday training will be a wildland scenario. We'll do it here in-house, talk about all of our wildland mitigation, operations, equipment, all that. Followed by 4 weeks of swift water rescue. Additional training we're gonna do in the middle of all that, what we call our Black Shield firefighter. Basically, it's folks who are able to act as a lieutenant, sit in the front right seat and be the boss. There's specialized training they're gonna go through, and we'll be conducting that in the middle of all the rest of our training going on. Other than that, anyone have any questions for me?
Sounds like you got some great training opportunities going, and it's really good to see the numbers that we have.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yes.
I was just kind of curious how many people are registered, certified as firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and red card.
You know, Zach? You got that for you.
While he looks that up, I just want to say from the board, welcome to the department. I don't know how many of these guys know that you just joined us here in the last month or so. And yeah, I know you hit the ground running, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, if you don't have that hand, you can just email it to us later or something.
Yeah, it should be.
I got just a couple things from the stations and apparatus. We can cover that while
Okay,
he's looking.
Okay.
F-150 that we had purchased this last year is just about finished being upfitted. So another week or two and we should have it in our hands and be complete there. Apparatus maintenance, yearly maintenance was completed by Fleet this last week. We just set it up in the spring. They go through heavy apparatus, change the oil, change the filters, do all their things. So we're ready for our busy season. Engine 726, our new Wildland Type 6, will be in service shortly. Our committee met last night, identified the final parts and pieces we need to get on it to get it fully operational. And we're working on getting those things in and on it. We hope to have it done by July 4th. We'd like at our fireworks celebration, maybe to have a little wet down and push in ceremony and make it official. So we talked about that last night. That was it for stations and apparatus. Let's have any questions.
Anybody?
Okay, there's something I usually compile at the annual report for you all, but I have it now. 27 of our members are ice rescue. 18 swift water. Which is either of the questions you asked.
No, they're good numbers.
I have 44 red carded. 18 firefighter 1s. 15 firefighter 2s. 1 company officer 1, so it goes firefighter 1, firefighter 2, fire officer 1, 2, and 3. 2 fire officer 3s. 12 fire instructors. So since we started the fire academy, we really push fire instructor 1 and 2 and 3, and helps them deliver the material first. So we push that since we hold the DFBC fire academy here. 1 fire instructor 2, 1 fire instructor 3. 20 hazmat operations. That was all the certifications. Now, we do have a difference between qualified and certified. So when you go to fire academy, you become qualified for an interior firefighter. We're able to put firefighters inside burning buildings, under something called AHJ, authority having jurisdiction, that we say, all right, you meet the qualifications and you're qualified to go in. Certified is now having a legitimate certification through a governing body, which is the FBC, which is our state. We don't have a state fire marshal, but Division of Fire Prevention and Control handles that. And that's the certifications I gave you, the number I gave you. We also require that to be in the right front seat, the acting lieutenant, and then of course promoted lieutenant and captains. So you have that certification as well as other classes, seam size, apparatus placement, et cetera, et cetera. So we do have more interior firefighters than the certifications, but not much, mainly their role.
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Certifications are in this. department.
Okay, well, we have a treasurer's report, we have that listed here, who is going, since we're in the treasurer. Is
We have
there
a-
somebody who is capable of
Volunteer
performing
captain's
the
report.
treasurer's, sorry?
Volunteer captain report.
Oh, volunteer captain's report.
Gonna be very brief.
I didn't want you to fill this out.
I need to put my glasses on before I attempt to read, is what.
Yeah, it's fine. No report other than to say thank you for volunteering your time to serve our agency. But I've met her.
Thank you. All right, back to the treasurer issue. We have somebody who can, I assumed we did. yeah.
Well, yeah, and tonight I'm gonna have Chief Wayne Kramer, do a treasury report, and once we switch to our new accounting firm, they're actually gonna be president of board meetings.
Oh, good.
Yes,
That's really good.
yeah, and more than Zoom, they said that they're gonna fly in, each board meeting and present this, and yeah, our service with this new company is gonna be a new.
I
firm.
assume we're not paying for their flights.
No, it's part of our
Part of
monthly,
the monthly. Okay.
not directly. it's not-
Not direct. I think we'll be paying.
Indirectly.
Yeah.
We're starting with pay.
All right.
All right, Chief Wayne Kramer.
Sure, if you wanna. put that. First off, we'll go through the bills. So we can just scroll through these, please. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. I might need to tap into Chief Getz as well to answer any of these.
I can tell you, I can't read that fast.
Sorry.
Get motion sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That waste management 178, is that a? How often is that? Cause it looks like it's total of 10,500.
No,
At the sub.
that's the dig,
Oh,
The
okay.
batch
Okay.
total.
That's for the bills that went out on May
That
7th.
makes me feel better.
A lot better.
Waste management.
Oh, in addition, yeah, the subtotal carried down the sheet for each week.
Okay.
That's it for the month. Okay, next we'll go to the balance sheet. This just showing you where we're at, the accounts. The assets are all listed there. Obviously, with like property taxes, we've not received all those yet. Liabilities.
Maybe in the future, is it possible to see the budgeted and the actual so that we can see what's scheduled for the years, like where we're.
That comes up in
That's the
further
next-
sheets.
Okay,
That's next
Yeah, I
year.
thought I saw it.
Yeah, and this is all in your packet ahead of time too, so,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, if you scroll, if there's no questions on this page, we'll go down to the next. Which does show the general fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the assets, I don't see any of your equipment listed there.
That question may be above my pay grade.
There's what? What's not listed?
That.
Assets, equipment listed.
So,
Yeah, I believe you'll see that in the audit on our depreciation schedule.
Not sure it's listed here. So this gets into more of the actual budget. So this is a general fund. So you can see the dates there across the top, 2024 is unaudited actual adopted budget 2025, column C is projected. D is actual.
Are the grants that you have this year, the $9,000, is that all approved grants or subject to federal cuts that you may not be getting?
Which one you?
I just
Okay.
got grants that were revenues.
Yeah, that was a projected number. It is
So
not.
it's not grants that you've already sent
Correct,
in.
and this is revenues, it's projected revenue. It's not grants, and you'll see when we get down further, we have separate line items for grants in 1A.
Right,
For
and I was just thinking, I didn't know what all those grants were, the assistance part of the grants, or what they might be.
Right.
And with the federal government cutting down a lot of those grants, I didn't know if that was gonna affect our budget.
Not yet. So then the second section there is expenditures. So you can see where we're at, the end column is the percent that's been spent with the budget. Year to date, that makes sense, so 66% on overhead administration. And so forth. And that's one of the things we did separate out this last year, talking about grants. Grants in 1A have their own line items, so we can keep track of those funds as they come in and out.
So you have grants and 1A, so because they're 1A numbers. But you got grants here and. So what are those grants spent for? Not
Those
the
are-
1A ones.
Those are pending grants that are in process, and we're not received yet.
Well, these expenditures,
What's that?
under the expenditures, you have grants and 1A, so the 1A, I can understand that's for wildland mitigation, but the grants part, what is that?
All of
Plan
our-
on spending them.
All of our grants so far are reimbursement grants, they're not giving us money up front. So we're spending money out of the budgeted money and asking for reimbursement. Example of that is the furworm grant that I mentioned that helps pay for part of Logan's salary, pays half of his salary for 2 years. We've been paying that out of the 1A and then asking for reimbursement, so that furworm reimburses the 1A funds
Okay,
because he's budgeted in the 1A funds. So, and again, this is all probably gonna change with the new accounting firm. We'd like it to be a lot clearer as well.
okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've recognized gaps in clarity and they weren't misappropriation of any funds or any negligence in that regard.
I wasn't.
No, I know you, I know
just
you
wanted
were.
to understand.
But the clarity to us too, when we start getting this, we're on phone calls more than we're not, and we looked at other statements from other companies and
Sure.
it'll be much clearer.
Yeah, ideally, we'd have the 1A completely segregated
Separate,
and
yeah.
just have that, because otherwise it's very unclear what,
Right.
where the lines are drawn.
Where does that 175 the town just gave us? Where does that go into the budget? Does that go into the grants then, or does that go?
Can you scroll back up to, so you see all the revenues? So if you see the 2024 unaudited actual in the grants line, that 234,303 includes 175,000 from the town. So it's sitting in that grants revenue line. Second column was what we budgeted for income from grants for this year. Projected budget
And
and
that's
actual.
over and above that 175.
Right.
Sorry.
So the eight in column D, the 8,823, that was our first reimbursement from the furworm grant that we applied for half of the educator's salary for that first quarter.
Thanks, it's just gonna take a little bit of
Yeah,
getting used
sure.
to.
Well,
understanding.
we're gonna have to just get used to a whole new system anyway, because we haven't done anything.
That's
When,
right.
when are they going to provide us with our first?
Hoping sooner than later. We're,
packet?
we're dealing with them daily on trying to just get onboarded. They want our business, so they're being expedient, but I don't have a date. We did ask for a projected date. We just have to Zoom with them this week and, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing the best you can. Well, you can maybe also take some of our comments back, like making sure that they understand we prefer to see the 1A plans, for example, a separate line item. And everything else done. So.
Hopefully I answered your questions. Any other questions on any more on this sheet? There's more, so.
Okay, so don't turn around yet. Okay.
This is the detail sheet. So it gives you a little more detail on each of those line items on where those funds were spent. So again, any questions? It breaks it out by overhead admin, obviously operation, training, support services, which is me.
I'm looking at the volunteer and shift program. Looks like we have 100% remaining of that. Does that mean we haven't done anything with that as of this year?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Is there a reason we haven't done that
Yeah.
so far this year?
Yeah, so we budgeted payment, like we do in a policy, $60, per shift. We would staff people for, Scott's Fest or et cetera. We started that a few years ago, or no, it might have been more than a few years ago, let's call it 5 years ago. Now that our numbers are up, our response times got much better. I wasn't aggressively seeking the shift work, however, anyone is welcome to do shifts, as we all know, and they can ride here, but it's just not the culture that we have here, as you know, to do shifts. So, yeah, I just haven't pushed it. I haven't, what I did is I haven't came up with a solution for a problem we don't have. So it's budgeted to have, just in case, but it's just not a problem issue we have. We're at to push, people staying here.
That's also where our session instructors will come out of. And with Academy starting in fall, we'll start to hit that line item more.
Makes sense. It's also the reimbursement per call, correct? Is that a different line?
Uh, for the end of year call reimbursement,
Yes.
yes,
81,000.
which won't be paid out till December.
Could you explain, well, all the board members understand what and the call reimbursement is?
Sure. So we pay $15 per response if somebody goes on a call. Wear and tear of their vehicle and you're allowed to with FSLA and all, so we do 15. So every time the phones go out, if you respond, whether you get canceled or not, it's not their doing that we get canceled, and they come to the firehouse and they fill out the blank. Also, we have an electronic program. And then at the end of the year before Christmas, we tally up the calls that they responded to and then pay them $15 per call.
Do paid staff receive that when they're on call, when they're on shift?
None of us do. None of us do.
That's a great program. Yeah. Especially get the workers.
Then the other divisions of prevention, transit 1A, and then capital.
The equipment acquisition, is that truck that we should be doing?
Type 6, 7.
I didn't hear the
26.
question. Well,
That's the equipment acquisition of the grants in 1A, is that the truck we shifted from one to another? What is it?
7/16 inches.
Where does
that happened
appear?
last year.
That happened
yeah.
last year, okay.
Yes,
So what is the equipment acquisition there?
that's other equipment, whether we need chainsaws or,
Gotcha. Okay.
And that all. So if it's under grants in 1A, that is all being paid for, maybe by us up front, but ultimately by somebody else, is that correct?
by 1A.
1A
grants.
1A.
Yes, somebody else.
Yeah, until we,
And right now, we can't distinguish between grants and 1A, but we'll be able to do that soon.
we have well, the distinguishing is, the revenue that we showed coming in, that
Right, we
8,000.
know how
That
much.
was a grant reimbursement. That's how we're showing it now. And
Okay.
again, we'd love to improve it too.
Not a criticism.
We'll
just
get
a-
there.
Just a preference.
Yes,
It's a lot to understand.
It is.
it is. The sales tax reconciliation, March is not quite
We
final yet.
just got March in at 3:30 this afternoon.
Oh, it's not in the
So the
presentation.
March numbers are $68,637.66.
So pretty flat. You said 68,000, so pretty flat last year. But that's your comparison for last year's sales tax income. Property tax reconciliation. We're getting there. 66%.
Okay.
That's it.
So we have approval of transfer.
I think then we can move on to.
We have to approve the
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
approval of transactions.
Yeah, I have a motion to approve the transactions that we just reviewed. Agenda item number. 9.
I can make a motion.
Yes, please.
Make a motion to approve the transactions that are in the treasurer's report.
Have a second, please.
Sorry.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. I oppose the same. Motion carried. All right, now we can go to the strategic. plan.
Oh. Yes, well, business. Well, what I would like to do in regards to the strategic plan, as you know, that we completed the strategic plan. And it's up to this board to change, edit, or approve. So I'd like to set up a workshop, and I don't know if it would be best, after we do 12C, when we set up our meetings, dates and times, and figure that out, to be able to present you the strategic plan and kind of discuss that more, and where we got, and where we are and where we're going. So, rather than to do that at this meeting, to spend some more time diving into that, as important as that document is. So that is my proposal.
We can do that. So we will set up as part of the next agenda item, which we're going to have a motion for, we will include that as part of that motion, which will not only include the regularly scheduled meetings, but will include a workshop for purposes of discussing the strategic plan, which you will distribute to us
Yes,
sometime in advance.
I will.
All right. Can we,
Do you have a, I'm
Do you
sorry,
have-
I have lots of questions. So,
please, no,
Perfect.
you
So,
go right ahead.
but I
I
would-
open a discussion every time before moving.
but in my opinion, I think the management implementation plan needs to be a public document. It needs to be included in that. It kind of sounds like we're trying to hide something to me. I think it needs to be a public document. And then we can get all the feedback. I still haven't even seen it. So I don't even know what's in it.
Sure.
So it's not on our website.
No.
It's difficult even to find the strategic plan on the website. To go through different levels. So I'd like to get with Erica sometime and go through our website. Do a little bit of revision on that to help easier to find information on us, certain things. Strategic planning, board member stuff, meetings. Things. It's like, if it's all right with the board, I'd like to get with her.
Yeah, I agree with you.
100% agree.
I agree. I looked at the strategic plan that was on the website and it's like, it's painted with a very broad brush. And a couple of times it referred to the, management and operations document. It's like, was that. Sounded like that's where the meat of everything.
That is exactly right. That's it's the meat of the whole thing, so.
Can I add to that discussion? Sure. So ever since, well, shortly after I came here, the word transparency has been loud in Yes Wi-Fi. I'm very, very much aware of that. So by no means am I trying to hide or cover in a website.
Nobody's like
In a website. So, so much so that the strategic plan that I developed as a chief wasn't my development, purposely, because of that transparency piece. Community engagement, as well as 3 days of internal stakeholders, everyone was invited to come in and make that plan. I had very little input, though I was around. So the reason why the management implementation guide didn't make, wasn't on the website or publicly is just because of the consultant CPSE that we hired to come here. I took their charge. We paid them $20,000 to help us with this. So they said the management implementation guide is for exactly that, management, or else we would have called it different. You guys keep that. This document, doesn't have to even be in there, right? This is just my defense to this. And the strategic plan has the 4 goals that we all came up with. The management implementation guide has goals, multiple objectives underneath each goal, and multiple tasks underneath each objective. Their rationale is I asked them the same question, right? Because transparency has been the word, and I don't want to be the one not really transparent, is as long as the goals get met and the objectives get met, then it doesn't matter sometimes how we do it. So we came up with these tasks internally. We don't need to be held to certain tasks if other tasks get put it in there, if certain tasks get omitted in there, along as the objective, because we don't know exactly the route the objectives are going to be taken. It's just like kind of somewhat of a roadmap. So, so that was their rationale, that it is a helpful document for us. However, I have no problem whatsoever. The 4 goals are in that plan, and I sent out to the membership all the objectives and all the tasks as well, once it was asked one time. So they said,
So I do believe all of these kinds of documents, even if they're a work in progress, need to be public. Our discussions of these documents need to be public. We're an open book here. There's nothing to hide with respect to management, and now I'm not suggesting you are. But as soon as we don't publish it, then everybody thinks we do have something to hide, and there's absolutely no reason for us to
Absolutely
do that. Why create that impression when that's not what we're doing?
sure.
So I think everything, especially with respect to the strategic plan, and I understand that we don't really, we haven't implemented one yet, and so it is a work in progress, but it is absolutely fine to publicize the work in progress as well.
Sure.
As long as we're making it very clear that this is a work in progress and this is what we're doing. And at the next meeting, here's what we're going to discuss, and this is how we're going to discuss it, and this is how it might evolve. And I think the public is going to be invited to attend our workshop as we discuss this stuff as well. So I think everything that we do has to be open and it needs the public input, because I think that, we can serve them. And I think that their input might be quite valuable for us, in addition to the consultants we have, and obviously the intellectual talent that we have on board, and experience that we have on board. So as long as if everybody's in agreement on that, it sounds like we are. I think, scheduling the workshop, this needs to be a public, every one of these meetings can be public, including
Sure.
workshop on the subject. But I do think that the documents associated with the existing strategic plan, the backup to it, which is giving you all of your tasks and, assignments and all that stuff. But I would preface it, okay, in the document, let me take a look at it before we publish it. I would like to make sure that it's very clear to everybody that this is a work in progress and it's going to change. We're likely to change because we're going to be working on it in future meetings, and we're publicizing, not notifying the public of those meetings. Okay,
Right.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
Chief, thanks for all your work on that, and for all the other individuals and organizations that were involved in. I know that takes a lot of work to get that strategic plan done, and I appreciate that. I wasn't trying to,
Oh, no,
that you were trying to hide something. I just said, perception is that it just looks like, we could have been more open about it. And I would just like to see us do it. Sure.
That's very good. Thank you. Do we want to give any other questions? Anybody else have anything they want to raise before we move to setting the meeting dates and times, including the workshop? which is, I believe, where we are. At this point, no, are we on, I'll put
Policy.
my glasses
I
on
have a-
before I.
A few things I'd like to address with the board. I don't know if it'd be best to do it on new business.
Yeah,
or
I
if it
think
would be
policy
under-
updates, if we have any policy
Okay.
updates first.
Your board comments too, so.
Yeah, well. Right, but that's much further down. So right now we're at policy updates. Told you I should put my glasses on before I try to read. Do we have any policy updates that we need? to say?
Intentionally on our first meeting, no,
Okay,
but I am reviewing and revising policies and they'll be
all right.
coming to your desk, yeah.
All right, I'd like to recognize, I think we have a couple of board members who would like to introduce some new board, some new business. And in order to do that in an organized and coherent way, why don't, I know you do, you just said you did, so Ryan, I'd like you to start with what you'd like to talk about under the new business.
Okay, well, I got these for the board members, and one for the chief as well. The top is a letter here, and the reason I think this letter is important is because as we were swearing in, I'm sure everybody was aware of our visitor in the middle. And I just want to put some background to that. And this letter was a letter that we received as a department from the board after the lawsuit in January. And I think this is important because it shows kind of a sentiment of where, well, this particular letter is not signed, which is somewhat difficult, but it shows the sentiment of where the board was. This is after we were found guilty in a court of law, and I don't feel like the current board or administration was able to accept that and show that they were willing to move on from it. And so I don't think this is how our board should operate, and I definitely want to make sure that we don't put this sentiment forward to the public. So,
Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna speak here very clearly to everybody in this room and on the record. We are a public entity. We answer to the taxpayers who fund it, right? We answer to them, to the community, people that we serve. We are not going to do business in secret, not ever. We will notice every single solitary meeting of 3 or more members of this board in advance at all times. Are we clear? We're gonna do that all the time. I'm sorry, but we are gonna, we need to make sure that we repair our relationship. Basically, I think with the community at large, who's looking at this history and thinking, what on earth is going on here? I happen to agree very strongly with the hiring of the chief. I think that was a great decision. I think you are doing a fantastic job. And I am going to support you to the end of the year because I think you are doing a fantastic job. I do not agree with the process by which this occurred. And that's not going to happen under my leadership of the board for sure. Just so everybody is very clear on where I stand on this. I also would like to make a motion to rescind this letter. This is a letter from a previous board of directors that ostensibly states that what they did was right. And it wasn't. It wasn't because it wasn't public. It needed to be public. And I'm not going to have this be a statement from a board of directors that I serve on. So I'm gonna move to rescind this letter from a previous board of directors.
We can't have a motion on something that wasn't in our agenda. Has to be previously stated in our agenda before we can make. a
All right,
motion.
so I will request that we consider this as a motion, a formal motion at our next meeting. That we rescind this letter that was distributed by the former board of directors under BVFPD letterhead. And that, I think in the meantime too, what I'd like to add to this is that I'm gonna be making I'd like to make a presentation to the board, to all of you on, what the Colorado sunshine laws require of us. It's really not hard, but I'd like to go over with all of you and staff about what it is what are our obligations, how is it that we're supposed to operate as a public body? What does that mean in terms of notice requirements? What does that mean in terms of when we can meet, how we can meet, who should be there when we meet? And the like, I will, we can maybe add that to this collection of meetings that we're going to approve. Because that'll probably be a good hour and a half, session.
We do have 4 other things I wanted to bring
Okay.
up as.
All right, but I just want to make sure that this gets added to the agenda for the next meeting, because I do intend to make the motion to receive.
The 4 other things I have that I'd like to bring up as talking point, whether we do it in a study session or in a board meeting. Number 1 is that there's an administrative conflict in some of the descriptions, specifically the chief of staff role to include HR and public informations officer. And there's just some inherent, I don't think anybody is doing anything. Well, let me start with the closing statement here, because I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to point out. These are presented not as to assign blame, but to elevate concerns that reflect both internal observation and community feedback. As a new board member, we have a duty to understand the system we inherit and to take appropriate, thoughtful action where needed. I'm confident through collaborative inquiry, we can uphold the district's mission while increasing trust, transparency, and effectiveness. So I'd hate to put anybody in a position where they have a conflict of interest within their role. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the people around them. I think that we need to evaluate the description of that and make sure that there is no conflicts, and that also gives the department and HR that doesn't have any conflicts in it, or perceived conflicts, and for that matter. The other one is the equity of mental health resources. All volunteers and paid staff are considered employees of the department. And I feel like there should be a discussion on whether EAP should be applied across the board or across the department equally for all employees. The volunteer currently do not have EAP available to them, and I think that they are more susceptible to the trauma and exposure to critical incidences, and I just don't want to make sure that they're left out. Number 3 is the fire mitigation program. I would like to see a comprehensive like business plan, I guess. I've gotten bits and pieces, I've watched in different meetings. But and it's probably my ignorance, my apologies, I just don't, without having a specific plan, I don't really see who's expected for what the history of it is, and if, as a new board, I think it'd be really good to get a high level view of that, to kind of give us a basic of where this started, where we're at, and where we're going with it. And really look at how much of the money that comes from the taxpayers is going back into the community and not getting lost in wages, incentives, or bureaucracy. Number 3 is the public trust and transparency, and that was that, or number 4, I'm sorry. And that was that letter that I wanted to make sure that we all were able to communicate or see that this, I don't ever want people to feel like we can't admit when we've been found wrong in a court of law. We should absolutely, whether we agree with it or not, I feel like we should just show how we're going to correct that moving forward, and I would like that to be, again, a talking point for either a study session or a agenda item for future board meeting. So you guys have those, you can review them, we can discuss.
Can I ask for any comments or questions?
Yeah, I got one comment, is I don't like to get stuff at the board meeting that I haven't reviewed.
I
If you're gonna have
apologize.
it on there, it needs to be in the board packet, so we got time to review all this. So in the future, if we could do that. I would appreciate
Absolutely,
that.
I'm still learning, and that's why I was calling for maybe a study session or
Sure.
future item. I didn't know where else the proper place to present it was. I didn't want to call everybody.
Well, under new business, I mean, if it's coming in under new business, we see that there's something here that we can't possibly digest in this meeting. And so what I hear you saying, Ryan, is that there's an issue with respect to this letter, which I've asked to put on the agenda for the next meeting. We have an issue relative to a potential appearance anyway of conflict of interest on this, HR issue. I'd like to add that to the agenda for the next meeting as well to discuss, and I would like you, if you wouldn't mind, to write something up for the agenda, so it's very clear what it is that we're discussing.
I can take care of that.
Including references to the policies at issue, because I think maybe some of us don't have those policies and
Okay.
haven't been able to review them, so it would be good to have the policies themselves, what the job descriptions are, what it is we're talking about, why there's a conflict of interest, and let's add that to the agenda as well for our next meeting. Then I think there are two issues, what I hear you saying, and the other two is, these are kind of bigger issues, not bigger, but they're more involved. And I don't know if we can do this, somebody smarter than me needs to tell me about this, but, I would like to have a committee, maybe two people and I don't know if we can form a committee that we haven't agendized here, so we might need to form these committees next time. But maybe a committee of two board members to look into something and then report back to the board in a public board session. So it gives them an opportunity to dive into all the paperwork and all the stuff that is very difficult for us to do in a board meeting. But then you can synthesize that and report back to our board meeting, and we can then have a public discussion about what it is we're going to do. So, for example, let's take a look at all this, everything that's going on with respect to prevention. And do we need a business plan? What would that business plan look like? Are there kind of resources that we can rely on for that? What would you recommend if you and one other person, Jeff, for example, are on a committee to research that and report back to the board, and what we recommend that we advise the team to do with respect to the prevention? Is that something that
I
sounds?
think that sounds good. I think you need to involve the prevention chief.
Well, of course, that would be what be what our committee would do, is they'd work with the prevention chief and come up with what's feasible, what isn't feasible, and then come back to.
Because some of this stuff might already be in there, we don't know.
And we can, exactly. So I think, Ryan, maybe you would be a great person to lead this committee, and, Jeff, could I tap you to be his second, to listen to him and listen to him? All right, so, we will then set an agenda item for them, to report back on the status of their investigation. They're not gonna be able to report back on the final, anything, they're not gonna be able to do this between now and the next meeting. But at least they can get back to us with the status of, what progress you're making on doing the research on the issue, okay? And I would suggest that the same, that I heard you saying again with the EEP volunteers, this is another one of these study issues as well. And I think maybe again, a committee might be a good way to start with this, to do the research and report back to us. I would actually like to participate with you in that. So let's the two of us do that. So we're gonna have another committee to study that issue and report back to the board as well. And we will obviously work with you on that issue as well. You set up venue as well. We'll work with all of you guys on this. And we're gonna say right now, we don't know enough to know that we don't know enough. And so you will educate us, I'm sure, and then we can move from there. At least they will then report back in a public board meeting to discuss. Here's what our research tells us. Let's talk about this. Let's decide what we're gonna do. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right.
I know that in the past, for EAP, there's been, if we have a critical incident, there's a critical incident stress debriefing team that comes to the county.
Is it
That would
EEP or
EAP,
EAP?
Employee Assistance Program.
Assistance program. I don't know why I heard EAP.
So that is, as far as I know, it's still available.
But not
The county.
volunteers, correct? Or is it
Oh, yeah.
staff? It is.
Because we've had them come in, we had critical
That's
incidents,
only a critical incident.
critical incidents.
So we're looking for.
We currently employ that, just on, we had EAP, there's a reason why we left EAP. And now we hired a psychologist, Dr. Richards, and we put the funds to Dr. Richards, and there was a reason why we left EAP in there. If we need to, after our committee, if we need to put those funds back to EAP, absolutely, as long as they get the service. And we'll talk about why we left.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
Dr. Richards has done critical incident stress debriefings with us, and also our peer support teams, our peer support members are trained in that as well, which I'll help too.
Well, again, I mean, I think some of us up here don't even know what we don't know. And so I think that having smaller committees doing the research and reporting back to the board might be a much more efficient use of our time, because some people can dive deep, come back and report, and the rest of us can then decide based on, reliance upon the research
Right.
to
That sounds
just
good.
matter and then go forward that way. Is everybody in agreement on that process? All right, okay, Anybody else have some issues under new business that they would like to raise and have addressed or discussed? All right, so why don't we,
Can I-
yes, of course.
Can I touch on that HR situation?
I am so glad you're talking.
Is there? Okay, so,
When you do, it's, I usually want to listen.
things like fire departments are a very tight knit family. And it's hard for your HR in knowing. It's hard for her to distinguish. Is there like an outside HR that we can use?
That is, I think, one of the things we need to think about in terms of the conflict issue. And that is when we have this on the agenda next time, I'm assuming that in your description, you're going to talk about that.
Yes.
All right, so this is a definite agenda item for the next board meeting, and we will talk about that, and a variety of different options and how to deal with this perceived conflict or potential. conflict.
Yes, it's just human nature. You don't want to
Absolutely.
be, you don't want to be hard on, your
The
family.
person,
And that's
yeah,
what this is a family.
exactly.
And, so that needs to be outside if possible.
Very big point, and thank you for that. So we will, can you run that by me before you?
Yes.
send it out? Okay. Any other new business that any of you would like to raise? Anything, okay, so let's talk about our next, well, we have several, I want to talk about the workshop on the, strategic plan. We want to talk about a presentation that I want to give to you on the sunshine laws, which I think is just going to take an entire meeting. And then also our next regularly scheduled meetings. So we're going to set the meeting dates and times. Are we good with?
We want to meet more than once a month for the first month or two until
Oh.
we get some.
How do you feel about that?
Not good. I think once a month is plenty, but.
I think it is
If you-
once we
if the
get our-
board decides to meet more than once a month, I'll be okay.
Maybe for the first couple of months, it'd be a good idea to meet every couple of weeks, just to get through some of this. The ramp up in education level for all of us. Some of us are a lot less informed about, what you all do, and I certainly, I think, could use a big education on some of that. And I think getting just up to speed on everything that we're dealing with, and we're a new board, we are a clean slate new board. We're not coming into this with institutional knowledge, we need to develop that, so I think maybe in the next 2 months we ought to do that, so we'll have. 4 meetings in the next 2 months, and then we'll decide at the end of that 2 months whether we need to do more of those, or if we're ready then to go on. Is everybody okay with that?
That's great.
All right, what about the day and time? We're looking at Wednesdays at 4:30 still, and okay,
I have a comment request for people. I was unfortunately misinformed about the day of the meeting times for the Tuesday, and I subsequently arranged my work schedule around that. So, I'd like to possibly consider Tuesdays or Mondays. Sorry.
does anyone have any objection to meeting on Tuesdays at 4:30? You do,
We have our training on Tuesdays at 6
okay,
that, Operation Chief, myself at times,
okay.
attend. So if we could do Tuesday, but earlier, that would work.
Or Mondays at the same time?
I was gonna see if everybody wanted to meet earlier as well.
You
Yeah,
can do Tuesdays
so
earlier.
like, say that again.
Earlier, like how early?
Oh, it could be 10 AM to, you let us know.
But yeah,
Except that
And
people at
then-
work,
Well,
they don't
yeah.
work.
another thing that
And if I
I,
have a court appearance, then I can't, I have to go.
another thing that I could actually make it Wednesdays for if it was in the morning.
What if it was later?
On Wednesdays.
What about Mondays? At this time, 4:30. Does anyone have an objection to that?
It's like golf on Monday, but I'm usually done by then.
You got that life.
I hope so.
Mondays.
So much more fun than playing golf. though. All right, Mondays I'm saying Mondays at 4:30. Does that time speak now or forever hold your peace? All right,
Okay.
so let's move to Mondays at 4:30.
Okay, we need to say what Monday, first
I
Monday.
know,
second Monday?
I'm getting there, I promise. I'm getting there. So let's talk, let me pull up my calendar. Man. So if we go essentially 2 weeks, we would be looking then at the 9th, Monday the 9th for our next meeting.
Second or third? Second, third Monday?
Or, oh, well, I thought we were just going every other 2 weeks. So second Monday, well, the second Monday of June would be the 9th. Yeah, so that we, the second and third Mondays, can most everybody make those?
Second and fourth.
Yeah, if we have
For
them,
second and fourth, I'm sorry, second and fourth, that's what I meant to
yeah, if
say.
we have them too early in the month, we may not have financials. So that's part of the reason we typically do a 4.
Yes, like,
And the second, how about you heard?
So what if we did the 16th and the 30th? Is that with everybody?
We decided the Tuesdays.
We're doing Mondays at
Mondays.
4:30. And we're trying to decide which Mondays right now. We're looking at the calendars to do. So, you know, the month of June might be just an odd month because of the scheduling conflicts. But, and well, you know, if we basically go to like the, you know, then in July, the 14th and the 28th. Which is essentially, so it would be the, again, the second and fourth Monday of the month going forward.
Yeah, I can make those at work. I might have a little bit of trouble with June.
Okay, so let's do the second and fourth Mondays, for at least until, the middle of August. Which will be August 11th. And then on the August 11th meeting, we can revisit the issue of whether we're going to once a month, or we need to continue meeting every other.
Okay.
Okay,
So
can I have a motion on that?
on the June one, it's
No,
gonna be
no, it was going to be,
16th and 30th.
Right,
the June meetings will be on the 16th and the 30th. The July meetings will be on the 14th and the 28th. And then we'll have a meeting, the next meeting after that will be August 11th, and that's at the meeting at which we will revisit the frequency of meetings. And I have a motion. Please. Please.
motion to meet the third.
Okay, we're gonna meet, I'll make the motion. I would
Okay.
move, I'm going to move that we meet on the second and fourth
That's the third.
Mondays,
Third.
except for June.
Okay.
Except for June, so the second and fourth Monday of the months of, between now and August 11th, except that the June meetings will actually occur on the 3rd and the 5th Mondays of that month. So the motion is that we will meet on June 16th, June 30th, July 14th, July 28th, and August 11th, all of which meetings will be in at 4:30 PM here at the fire station. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, the same. Motion carried. All right. Let's see, let's talk about bank signage. Can you tell me what you need?
yes, myself, which is Base, and
Yes.
generally the, will be Ryan as treasurer
As the treasurer,
and president.
okay? So we all would just become signatories on the bank account. We'd have to go to the bank and do
Correct. They're
two
waiting on-
signatures are required on every, or if you have a policy that we can see. On when, you know, the amounts, limitations, when 2 signatures are required, when not. Is there a policy on that? You have written
purchasing policy and.
All right, so if you could distribute the written policy at least to me and to Mr. Leahy, that would be ideal. And so I think you're looking for a motion for us, both me and Ryan Leahy, to become signatories on the bank accounts for the fire district. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so.
I'll make a motion for Sandra and myself to become signers on the fire department bank accounts. So
And they're going to provide us with the policies.
as per policy that would be provided to us.
Great. I'll second that. Oh, you seconded that
I
motion?
second.
Jeff seconded the motion. Any discussion?
Yeah, what if two of you are not available? We have other board members that are here that could sign it.
Have you ever run into a situation where you did not have, with two board members available, but with two board members who are authorized to sign? Have you ever run into a situation where you're not able to take?
I'm
obtain-
gonna refer this to Erica. I've only been in this position 5 months. She's been here 9 years.
Typically, there's nothing needed for signature, but it will be bank transfers from savings to checking to process our bill payments and payroll.
I understand. Have you ever had a situation develop though where the two board members that are authorized to give you permission to do those things have not been available and you were unable to perform the function?
No, because a board member does
Does
that.
it
That can
themselves.
be either online or by phone to the bank.
Okay, so I.
So
think for now
nobody
we'll
has
stick with two
been-
people, If that's it, and unless there's an objection, is everyone okay with that idea? All right, so, would someone like to make one? You already. know.
There's a motion in a second.
And the second already, we had a discussion. Is there any further discussion? Thank you. No? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same? Motion carried. All right, let's see. Any further board comments, discussion requests, issues you would like to raise?
I just would like to, first of all, congratulate all the new board members here on the successful election. We look forward to working with you. As you noticed, that I'm not afraid to give my opinion,
I love it.
so I'll continue to do that. I also want to also recognize the past boards. Maybe they didn't do everything right, but they put their time in. And they, and we are here because of some of the things that they've done. I appreciate their efforts.
Nice that it showed up to see us off or to see us in, but we'll just wing it, I guess.
You know, it's a, we have an amazing staff. One of the things I would like to say is that you all are amazing. What you do is amazing. I appreciate every single one of you. I respect every single one of you. I think we're gonna work together very, very well. And I'm really, really looking forward to this journey. with you. Anything else? Anyone else? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Oh, you guys do gavels here?
You're down.
There we go. We're adjourned.